Hi everyone, my name is Maria Palomino. How are you? And today is my 1 year anniversary. It's my birthday of sobriety. It's been one full year, day after Easter, because last year Easter was 1 week after, since I've been on the path of sobriety. And it has been one of the most rewarding, most awakening moments of my life, and really getting my power back, loving myself more, and just creating new hobbies, new interests, and new self profound love, and ultimately just finding my beloved, which is myself. So, I want to share a little bit about how I came to decide to quit alcohol altogether. There are different types of addictions. There are other addictions that I'm still working on. Everything is baby steps. And I want to go and talk about the path to least resistance. How do we go into not fighting it so much and having all the support that you need? So, let me tell you a little bit about my background first. Right out of college, I went and worked for one of the best tech companies. And even in college, that's when I started my relationship with alcohol. I never actually drank in high school. I didn't really go to the parties. I was very happy with my boyfriend and studying. That was my whole focus. And everything was great. But it wasn't until my sophomore year that I started going to more parties. And I went down to San Diego State. So going to Tijuana, it's only a bus ride away. We even had buses on campus, Martha's bus, that will take you to over to cross the border, and it was fun. Created great bonding, and that's just the culture that it's founded upon. Partying, getting out there. I did a lot of study abroad, so I went to Chile, I went to Brazil, and a lot of bonding through alcohol. And I built a good resistance, I thought. And then also I even went to Japan during the World Cup, and I did an internship out there. One of the best times of my lives. A lot of alcohol involved, as you can imagine, a lot of funny stories. And when you're young, you can bounce back very quickly, and you think you're invincible. Nothing can stop you. And getting out of college, working for this high tech company, we're all young. I was in this beautiful program, and I remember there was three of us, and we would, before we were going out to party, we would say 1 2 3 blackout. We all had the blackout gene. Apparently we didn't think anything of it. We thought it was fun. We were trying to come back after the night and trying to remember what happened, like it was a game, and it was fun. And that just kind of continued, and I went down that path, and was very successful in work. Actually, as I moved from one tech company to the next, I even did all the work and did presentations for a lot of my colleagues. And we would be at bars or at conferences where there's a lot of alcohol involved, and I would just do it, and they would buy me shots or whatever it may be. So I was a really good functioning alcoholic, you could say. And everything, I thought everything was normal. I even had a DUI, and that was very scary because I did have an accident. And at that point, it never crossed my mind to even stop drinking. I thought, let's just be more careful. So clearly I wasn't ready at that moment. And this is back in 2006, early 20s, right out of college. And then I went into the financial industry, where I've been for a decade. And it's been a year now since I'm no longer in that industry either. And it just took the level of entertaining to a complete different scale. It's wining and dining at the best restaurants, having conferences, spending the night at the best hotels, a lot of events in Vegas. And as you can imagine, all the banks or the London companies, they are having the best parties. It's all open bars, top shelf. And I became very good at it. I went into an industry where I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any contacts, to becoming almost the queen of networking and socializing, where people wanted to partner up with me to have events. And I even became the president, Women in Finance and Software, because I became a really, really good networker. And yeah, part of it was because I had fun, I was the party girl, and I was doing business. But that's not the only way to do it. That's just kind of the path that I found. But, after so many years and your body doesn't bounce back the way it does before, I was just done with it. I know that it was impacting not only my health, but my mind. And I would start getting rashes. And I noticed that my immunity was much weaker. If I was a little bit sick and if I drank a little bit, it would take me down right away. And I just wasn't happy, even though I was living a great life, had a great career, had a boyfriend at the time. And even with him, our ritual was every single night we had at least a glass of wine. We just did that every single night. And I was just done with it. Something didn't feel right. And a lot of it came from alcohol, because it was not only fogging up my intuition and my ability to connect with me, what I really wanted, and connect to my soul, but it was breaking me down. And I just wasn't happy. So I decided to break up with my boyfriend. And then I decided to take a New Year's trip and go to Bali for New Year's. And right before that, actually, I decided to go to Kundalini Yoga teacher training program for 7 months. And going down the spirituality route wasn't new to me. I had done it 10 years ago with the Self-Realization Fellowship, which is founded by Yogananda, who is my personal guru. And I had felt so much bliss. Definitely feel like I'm a chosen child of his to follow his path. However, what I didn't have, which I think is very important to the path of least resistance, I didn't have community. So even though I had these beautiful gifts and I learned about meditation, I didn't have the community, and I went back into the path of partying and losing myself altogether, and it was just taking me down. So for me, the way that the desire just left was through meditation and yoga and having a community. And I want to read a passage from the documentary of Yogananda that, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's called Awake, because he was an awake being. And one of his followers asks Yogananda, all my life I've learned about thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that. I want to know, what is it that I can do? And Yogananda tells the follower, well, do you smoke? And he says yes. So Yogananda says, you may continue. Do you drink? The follower says yes. You may continue. Do you enjoy the opposite sex promiscuously? Yes. You may continue. So the follower said, wait. You're saying that I can come up to this beautiful hill with your beautiful disciples, the monks, and be among these beautiful people doing this beautiful discipline, and I can go down and do whatever you want? And Yogananda tells him, yes. But I will not promise you that as you continue to study these teachings, the desires to do these things will not fall away from you. And that is exactly what happened to me. The desires just left. So people would come to me and they would say, oh my God, that must be so hard, especially in the initial periods if, I was around alcohol, or they knew that I was a party girl. And it wasn't hard because I just had no desire. And the more you go down this path, your senses changes, your palate changes, and it's to the point that it becomes distasteful. So you are being completely transformed to the molecular level. So what it comes down to is to rechanneling your energy. Rechanneling your energy from suppressing it the whole time, running away from it, running away from your emotions. So from suppressing it to be able to transmute it, to transform it. Everything is energy. And one thing that Yogananda says, and it's something that he brings from the tradition of the yogis that has been studied and has been done over 5,000 years ago, is that repeated performance of inaction creates a mental blueprint, causing the formation of subtle electrical pathways in the brain. So what he's talking about here is neuroplasticity. He was talking about neuroplasticity 50 years prior to scientists even having the interest of start studying of neural pathways that start developing during meditation. And you start going down a new path with the inactivity, you start creating definitely new habits. So you start also transforming and impacting your subconscious, because addictions are very deep rooted and they are impacting your subconscious. Some of the addictions that are very amongst the most, the highest one is wine, which is alcohol, sex, money, and food. Alcoholism and food addictions are very deep rooted to the subconscious, to the point where your body no longer responds to your mental commands. Your body has its own habits, every cell has its own brain, and no longer does it respond to what you want, what your brain's telling it to do. So then that's when it comes up to you to develop a new discipline through the power that you have that no one can ever take away from you, which is your birthright, which is your free will. And your free will is the power that is the most grateful that we have. So whatever it is that you're creating right now, that you're living, you've created it. So what is it that you're dreaming, right? And it's taking accountability and saying, yes, it's not our fault, that we have addiction. The addictions are all part of all of our sensual pleasures that we have. And some other types of addiction is being praised, always being told or feeling good, but it's all coming from the outside. All addictions are outwardly senses. So we're going outside, trying to find happiness, and it's about going inside, inwardly. And the thing with addictions is that we think that there is no greater pleasure. I'm never going to have greater pleasure than for my addiction, especially when it comes to food, right? How many people do you hear them say that, I'd rather die eating, my favorite food, whether it's cheesecake, ice cream, whatever it may be, a delicious hamburger. They rather do that than to stop eating it. And an addiction is only an illusion. It's an illusion because once you go inwardly and you find this pleasure that is unimaginable, uncomparable to the pleasure that your body senses can give you, there's no going back. So the more you go in, the more you find yourself, the more you see that you are connected. You basically are opening your higher conscious, and you're connecting, to that cosmic conscious. There is no going back. And there's that bliss is what's going to take you farther, and it's just going to be so much easier to just let go, because now you have a new path. You're rechanneling your energy. That is the science of yoga. You're rechanneling your energy. You're creating new actions, new activities, new habits. You're creating new neural pathways in your brain. So therefore, genetically, to the molecular level, you're changing and you're becoming a different person. But once again, it all has to come from you, and you have the power. Everyone does. No one can make you do it, right? And it's true, the more someone pushes you, the more resistance that it's going to build. So, I ask for those of you that, are around people who, may have a problem with any type of addiction, to be very gentle about it and to introduce it in a very caring, loving way, because otherwise it's just going to create more resistance. Because if you're not ready, then you're not going to be able to do it. Like I said, I had an accident I could have killed someone. My car totally spun around the freeway and I hit the center divider, and it wasn't my time to go, and luckily nothing happened. I didn't cause injury to anyone else. And we all have our path, and if you're still here in this world, you're still breathing, it's just time to really say, what new habits do I need to build? And it doesn't have to be through meditation. You remember when you were a child and you used to just play, freely, and just, running behind it, a butterfly, you were free. It's going back to that place of joy and freedom. When we were younger, it's the time we were the most connected with our soul. We knew who we really are. And it wasn't as we're growing that all this limitation and all this, what you should and shouldn't be doing, and all the traumas that get built up and all the disappointments, that we become numb and we can't hear ourselves anymore. So it's going back. So, going back and feeling like a child again, waking up in the morning and feeling like I want to go for a jog, I want to go do yoga, or I want to go take a nature walk, whatever it may be that cheers you up. If that is your starting point, then great. It's like, it's more about where are your priorities. And yes, I know it's hard. And I gotta say, one of the biggest benefits of going through this process, and that I'm very grateful for, and I would not take anything back, that I've lived through my, through my whole life almost, of drinking alcohol, is that it's brought me to this point, and it has really helped me open my heart and be more compassionate, build more compassion and be more compassionate towards others, because I understand how hard it is. And there are others that I do meet, and it's so hard for them to understand, especially, if they don't have that desire and they don't have that addiction to alcohol, whatever it may be, and they're like, well, I don't understand how that person can do that. So there is that compassion is in there. So I'm grateful I've gone through this, so I can understand it, so I can help people out, and my heart just opens up. And believe me, every single person has some type of addiction. Everyone is suffering at some level, and we're all here to unite, to love each other, try to see the good in every other person. So that is the path. Some of the other added benefits that I really want to talk about is, besides compassion, is just having that power over your own story. That's really going to take you far. Being able to say, I did this, I built a new discipline, and that just starts unraveling just quite a new future for you and a new creation, because you start going another path. Is it going to be challenging, and that's why people don't want to do it? Yes, it is. And nothing is easy. Anything that anyone's ever accomplished, there have been many challenges. And it is. It's living behind your old life. And believe me, you just have to walk the path, and the new life is going to be better than you have ever imagined. So you just have to trust yourself. And if you're making a list of pros and cons, that's not the way to go. As soon as you have one pro, you're not ready. You're just not ready. You have to be in it 100%. Even starting to build the discipline, even when I was the beginning of my training with Kundalini Yoga teacher training program, I was still, drinking here and there. And, it just got to that point where, this isn't for me. I was just sick and tired. I was getting sick, and I just felt horrible, and I knew something was missing. And what was missing was me coming back to myself. So, it's going to free up so much time for you to explore new hobbies, make new friends. Your conversations are going to change. And one that's very important is you're going to learn how to create boundaries. And boundaries not only around the addiction, but it's also a boundary of, like, you respect yourself more, you value yourself more, you put yourself first. And it's not about selfishness, because in order to love yourself, you have to honor what you need first. What are your needs? If you're busy, if you have a family, it's taking the time for yourself if you can. Some of us don't want to ask for help. Just asking for help, reaching out for help. So it's okay. just inspiring personal growth. It just unravels a whole new life for you ahead of you. For me, it has been my spiritual path, which is now my new passion. I'm creating a whole lifestyle around it. Just stronger relationships. A lot of us are scared of what our friends are going to say. This isn't for me. It doesn't matter. If there was something, if your friends after you stop drinking don't want to be your friends anymore, then that's okay. They serve the purpose. They're not bad because they don't want to drink with you. There just wasn't anything else that was bonding you besides the alcohol. And you just have to move on, and you have to see it in the nicest, kindest way. They're not bad. They're going through their own path, and you just have to follow yours. So that's okay. New friends will come, new conversations are going to arise. Just embrace your new path. It's all about the experience. No one can make you believe anything. That is key. So it's about trying something different, whether it's through meditation, yoga, remember what it was like to wake up in the morning without feeling a hangover. A lot of us say, oh, one drink, it's not a big deal. One drink has an impact on you when you wake up in the morning. It really, really does. So just do that. No one can help you unless you're willing to help yourself. Time is precious. What are you dreaming? What are you manifesting? We're here to be happy and be joyful. And unless we have that, we're never going to rest till we find it. And the answer is not outside. The answer is inwards. So that is my story. That has been my path to least resistance. I'm very happy and proud of what I've accomplished and everything that is starting to unravel. It's been a year, and if you have any questions on actual techniques, I'm more than happy to help you out. I'm here for you, so just let me know. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.